Welcome back to Prospect Channels TV. My people, we don't come back again with another Bunga update. Right now, I want to talk about things when we see happen for Federal High Court today concerning this Mazi Nnamdi Kanu's trial. Nigerians are chatting, freedom for Kanu. This case is being watched globally. Yes. And people are telling Justice James OMOTOSHO'S, you say, justice must not be adopted. Mazi Nnamdi Kanu should not be denied justice, and that is the reason why you should release him. Look at what happened in Kenya today. That was a slap on Nigerian judiciary. This is the same judiciary that acquitted this man, granted him bail, everything in 2022. The same judiciary that still went and still be trying Mazi Nnamdi Kanu is still there. So, the word is telling Justice James Omotosho, the judge in Kenya, that said the Nigerian government held against the law to the extent of indicting their own government as well. He not be spirit. He not get seven head. In a human being like he be. Don't allow them to use you the way they use Justice Binta Inyako. So waiting happen today, I go tell you now, make una hear am. Una go still understand, say, you see this federal government of Nigeria, there is something that is going on. And I am beginning to understand that this is not just about Mazi Nnamdi Kanu. Like what I always tell us here, say, Biafra war don't end, but has it actually ended? This is not just about Mazi Nnamdi Kanu, because if it's just about Mazi Nnamdi Kanu, what they did to OMOTOSHO'S, Sunday Igboho, these people, Nigerian government, charged them treason. Yes, but they were all released. They were all given freedom. These people, they are free men today, walking freely on the streets. So that is why I said this case is not just about Mazi Nnamdi Kanu. The way I see him, but how you see him? Okay, a federal high court in Abuja today has urged to order the detained leader of the indigenous people of Biafra, IPOB, Nnamdi Kanu, to enter a defense in the terrorism charge in respect of which he is being prosecuted. The prosecuting lawyer, Omowolo San, who made this request during Friday's proceedings, also urged the court to reject the no case submission made by the defense. He prayed the court to instead order him to explain why he engaged in terrorism activities and promoted violence and destruction, including the killing of not less than 170 security officials. Omowolo, while adopting the prosecution's address in a opposition to the no case submission made by Kanu, said the prosecution has supplied sufficient evidence in proof of all elements of the offences charged to warrant the court to call on the defendant to enter a defense. The defendant to enter a defense. So he noted that the prosecution called 5 witnesses and tendered many exhibits, including video and audio, adding that adding that as against the claim by defense lawyer Kano Agebi San, the reply address of the prosecution addressed all issues raised to the effect that no case submission is of no moment. Omowole, who prayed the court to dismiss the no case submission, argued that all the court was required to do at this stage of the case was to take a panoramic view of the evidence led so far and determine whether or not a prima facie case has been made out against the defendant to warrant his being called to enter a defense. He noted that the defense, in its no case submission, attacked the credibility of the witnesses, the record and evidence led so far, which is not what is required at this stage, stressing why court should reject the no case submission. Omowole noted that in both the video and audio evidence tendered by the prosecution, Kanu admitted being the leader of IPOP, which he knew was a proscribed group. He added that Kanu also, in some other videos, admitted making broadcasts in which he allegedly called for violence and destruction. Reading a portion the defendant's address in support of his no case submission, Omowolo faulted Kanu's lawyer's argument that his several broadcasts amounted to a clear case of boasting that did not require criminal prosecution. Omowolo argued that the law prohibits statements that have the possibility of causing fear in the mind of the people. He added, why would somebody say terrorist who boasted that security men and other people should be killed should be allowed to go free? Omowolo argued that the aim of the defendant was to create the separate state of Biafra, and in the process, not less than 170 security men were killed. Because of his broadcast, why was he boasting? Boasting is not the answer. If the defendant believed that he was merely joking and was a content creator, he should be made to answer to why he was boasting and creating a fear in the mind of the people. When person is boasting and threatening death and violence, that cannot be said to be mere boasting, Omowolo said. He urged the court to call on the defendant to come and explain what his boasting was about. Omowolo faulted claim by Agbebi, a former Attorney General of the Federation, that the defendant has been in solitary confinement for 10 years. Now, the prosecuting lawyer noted that Kanu, who was first arrested in 2015, was granted bail in 2017, which he enjoyed until 2022 when it was revoked on the grounds that he jumped bail. Omowolo said the current detention of the defendant was upon an order of the court, which found that he jumped the earlier bail granted him. So he also accused the defense legal team of being behind the delays experienced in the case. Before now, Omowolo added, for 3 years, his counsel were responsible for the delay of trial. The delay had been the shenanigans of the defense team, not that of the prosecution. Their case that this case has lasted for 10 years is not true. Their case that this case lasted for 10 years is not true. They are the cause of the delay. He said, on Kanu's argument that IPOB was not lawfully proscribed, Omowolo countered that since the issue was currently before the Supreme Court, it would be inappropriate for the trial court to pronounce on whether or not the prosecution was properly done earlier. So Agbebi urged that all the prosecution has succeeded in doing was to paint the picture that the defendant is a bad man. He contended that no single element of the offenses charge was provided by the prosecution, adding that the prosecution did not bring anyone before the court who said he was incited by Kanu's broadcast. Agbebi said, this man Kanu can boast. He was just boasting. He said, I can bring the world to a standstill. I don't see anything wrong with that. You don't prosecute a man for mere boasting. He drew the court's attention to the wave of the killings in the most parts of the country and argued that the defendant was equally concerned with the state of insecurity in the court, while insisting the defendant did not. Wrong, Agbebi said the defense team tendered evidence in the case where the Director General of the Department of State Service (DSS), Adeola Ajayi, and the former Defense Minister Theophilus Danjuma were heard advocating that people should defend themselves against attack. Agbebi argued that what the defendant said was that The people should defend themselves. So he faulted the NSAS report tendered by the prosecution on the ground that it was not authenticated. Agbebi said his client has been under solitary confinement for more than 6 years, noting that under international law, solitary confinement must not exceed 15 days. The defense lawyer said the defense lawyer is no longer normal on account of his solitary confinement. The case has been pending for 10 years. Memories have been lost, which is why most of the prosecution witnesses were saying they can't remember. They don't know when they were asked questions, he said. He also faulted the death report tendered by the prosecution, arguing that the reports were tendered without the doctors being invited to cross-examine. Agbebi noted that from the record of proceedings, the witnesses called by the prosecution said, "I don't remember, I am not aware, I do not know," for 80 minutes when they were being questioned. He argued that such responses from witnesses do not justify the requirements of a proof beyond responsible doubt. So, guys, as you can see, this case is getting tougher. You understand? Now, the question is, will the Nigerian government ever release Mazi Nnamdi Kanu? And if they don't, what is going to be the consequences of their act? So now here I could drop this one. Drop a comment below the comment section. Share this video, make it go viral so that Nigerians could understand waiting they happen today. Thank you. See you in my next video. Bye for now.